Politician and a member of the party United National Movement, Mr. Petre Tsiskarishvili, welcome to the interview. Let's start with the slogan "Free Saakashvili" from Misha. Don't you think that releasing the person who pardoned killers of innocent Sandro Girgliani will give the Georgian Dream leaders enough reason to never face the justice?
Everybody in this country, including our international partners, has come to an agreement that the judges are controlled one way or the other by the Georgian Dream Party. And then the decisions that are delivered by this judicial system, how can they be fair? In Mikheil Saakashvili, they see political defeat in free and fair elections to the GD party. So they have only two solutions for him: to be outside of the country or isolated in prison.
How about illegally crossing the line of Georgia? How about that case? Don't you think that that thing was illegal and he has to be jailed for that?
Yes, it's not right, it's illegal, but the sentence that is delivered upon such illegal act is usually few weeks of detention in an immigration center or a fine, not imprisonment for many years, which is a political case in Mikheil Saakashvili's case.
If under your governance, Ivanishvili illegally crossed Georgian border, what would be the answer of Georgian justice system?
I don't know. If he had crossed the border, probably we would have welcomed him because he's a political player. He would have probably paid a small fine for illegally crossing the border and violating the immigration laws, and have continued to do politics like he did back in 2012 when he won those parliamentary elections.
Don't you think that when EU must decide whether to grant us with candidacy status, it's counterproductive to inform our partners about all the mistakes GD ever made?
Come on. Are you joking with me now? How can something that is true can be counterproductive in terms of communicating with our partners in Brussels, DC, or any other capital? You have to be frank. You have to be truthful. You have to speak in what you believe to your partners. Otherwise, what are you doing in politics? Whether you're in opposition or you're in government. And on the other hand, our international friends from Brussels, any other place, they have their embassies here. They have reliable sources. They communicate with the civil society. So they have full information. They know all the details that is going on in Georgia's political life.
But we haven't seen that discussion in European Parliament before. Why did European Parliament members decided to talk about how Georgian media was under attack only this time when we are very close to get members?
That's a good question. I think there are a few reasons for that. First of all, the detention of Nika Guaramia, which happened for some very odd reason right before such decisions were to be made. Secondly, it's the Georgia's government to this date has not picked a side, has not made a specific position on whose side they're on. Verbally, they support Ukraine. By the deeds, they support Russia. This ambivalence of the Georgian government has also fueled, obviously, many questions and the position that has been delivered by the European Parliament.
What will UNM do if Georgia will not be granted with EU candidacy status?
By the time of this interview, we already know preliminary position of the European Commission of the status. They have told us to first meet the conditions, deliver on the reforms that are requested from the European Union towards the Georgian government, and only then we can start discussing the candidacy status. Even the timeline, the timetable has been determined until the end of this year. We need to have addressed the issues that are on the table. So we will push the government, we will urge the government, we will cooperate with our international partners, we will cooperate with civil society, everybody in the country, with our constituents and supporters, to make sure that by the end of this year, the terms and the conditions that have been laid out are actually implemented and addressed. If they don't do this, then parliamentary elections will come very soon, and we will do our best to defeat them in those elections.
The question comes from the statements of members of the ruling party who said that if we do not get the candidacy status, UNM will do everything anti-governmental to remove us from the government.
Parties are created to run in the elections and to try and prevail in those elections. This is a concept that the GD has a problem of understanding. This is a principle, a fundamental problem, political problem that also, on the other hand, fuels the polarization, because when you have a party that never wants to give up power, obviously that's not a very healthy political environment.
Prime Minister Garibashvili reminded us when NATO rejected our request to get MAP map. It didn't stop your party, your government, Saakashvili, from developing country and moving forward to NATO. Why should we be so critical about GD if EU rejects our request to the candidacy status?
It's not a very adequate parallel that Prime Minister has drawn here, because for UNM party and for Mikheil Saakashvili's administration, this aspiration of Euro-Atlantic integration was genuine. It was a business of political will and natural aspiration towards the West. In GD's case, would you be able to say the same? Would we be able to say that, yes, they're willing to administer the reforms that are laid out by the European Commission today, for example? Are they genuinely ready to let media do its business on their own without politically prosecuting every single manager and founder of those companies, let alone imprisoning Nika Guaramia? I don't think so. In their case, it's going to be much more difficult to continue on the same path as towards integration into the West, and in this case, our aspirations to receive the candidacy status to the European Union, because they are afraid of being removed from government, and they're afraid of losing the majority in the parliament. Almost on every case, are they ready to administer reforms that are addressing the de-oligarchization of Georgia? Remove themselves from Bidzina Ivanishvili's political, financial, economic, whatever type of influence he has over his cronies and so-called team? Of course not. So these are the differences.
We remember UNM calling Kakharia to resign after the raid of 20th of June. Then we saw you protesting his appointment as a prime minister. How fair is that from you, the party who had no questions with Ivan Merabishvili, who is the author of 7th of November raid and who was appointed as a prime minister under your government?
Both 7th of November as well as the June 20th, 3 years ago, were dark spots in the Georgian recent history. I'm not saying that politics is always fair and always ideal. People make mistakes. Those mistakes need to be addressed if they're criminal acts. But again, the public, the civil society, the society in general, first of all, needs to have confidence in the judicial system. We had our fair share of mistakes during Saakashvili administration, and while we were in the government, we had mistakes in terms of political judgment and in terms of appointments perhaps as well. But the final verdict of the voters in 2012 elections were that we had to pay a political price for this. But like we discussed before, GD does not understand this idea and does not want to accept the fact that at one point their government can be replaced by another government which has majority in the parliament. So this is the major difference between the two parties and the two ideologies of UNM and the GD.
Politician Mr. Petre Tsiskarishvili, this was very interesting interview.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much.